I reached out to a couple people, senior people who I know in the silver and gold industry, and I'm curious. This is going to be a hard question for you. Why is it that I can't find anybody who will say anything negative about your company? Without exception, I heard, and this is, look, I'm not sponsored by you. I'm not being paid to say this, anything like that. But everybody I talked to had positive things to say about silver, gold, bull.com, which got me honestly even more excited about this opportunity to talk to you. Today, we have a special guest, Aryan Vafadar. He's from silvergoldbull.com. He's going to offer us a unique perspective into the silver and gold bullion dealer industry. Aryan, welcome to Ron's Basement.
Hey, Ron, thanks so much for having me on the show. It's an honor to be here and a pleasure to finally get to speak with you.
Yes, I agree. And on behalf of all the viewers, we appreciate you. I know your company does about $1 billion in annual revenue. I imagine mostly selling silver and gold bullion. A lot of the people watching right now like to buy silver and gold bullion. It can be a little confusing at times. So we look forward to learning from you. And do you want to share with my viewership kind of what your role is at the company so they have an idea of your background?
Yeah, of course. So I am the inventory and trading manager here at Silver Gold Bull. I started the company super young, almost basically right out of high school. So start from the bottom, learn the industry, and just work my way up to the top. And now, I oversee our inventory purchases. So I buy our gold maples, our gold eagles. I manage our inventory. If anything isn't moving or if something's moving too quick, I'll work on the resupply. And we do have two big vaults. So we sell in Canada and the US. So kind of shifting inventory up and down to make sure we're balanced there. I manage our wholesale program. So we also supply a few hundred small to medium-sized dealers across North America. So I have some strong relationships with them, and we make sure not only are we supplied, but they're supplied as well. I think the local point stores are huge for this industry. They provide a lot of valuable insight. So making sure they're okay and they're running is a big focus for me. And then lastly, and this is probably where most of the industry insights going to come from, is I manage our pricing and for the website, and I have huge insight into premiums and how premiums fluctuate as the industry itself fluctuates. And that's really the short summary on me.
So you've I think it's safe to say you've done a few things in the precious metals bullion industry. Did you say that you started right out of high school with the company?
I did. In fact, I'm probably one of the kind of youngest senior employees in the bullion industry. Really 2 years after I graduated high school, I saw a job posting for this company, and I'm like, what is silver and what is gold? I had no idea this industry even existed. Then just applied, interviewed, and just started with the company. And I had no idea regular people could just go out and buy silver and gold. I thought it was just like the banks and things you see in the movie. So it's eye-opening for me to start.
I can guarantee you the people who are joining us right now watching this video are going to look forward to hearing your insights, particularly on the retail side. My viewers are silver and gold enthusiasts, as I like to refer to them. And it sounds like you've done, in a short period of time, quite a bit. Now, I've got a tough question for you, Aryan. I'm going to put you on the spot. I hope you don't end the interview here on me. But in my preparation for this interview, I polled my viewership. I have about 24,000 subscribers right now. I reached out to a couple people, senior people who I know in the silver and gold industry, and I'm curious. This is going to be a hard question for you. Why is it that I can't find anybody who will say anything negative about your company? Without exception, I heard, and this is, look, I'm not sponsored by you. I'm not being paid to say this, anything like that. But everybody I talked to had positive things to say about silver, gold, bull.com, which got me honestly even more excited about this opportunity to talk to you.
Yeah, of course. I think the biggest thing for us is we don't view, like JM or SD or bullion exchanges as competitors. This industry, especially over the last 5, 6, 7 years, we honestly went through a rough patch, right? The market after 2012, so from like 2013 all the way to 2018, 2019, I think we were in a bear market, right? A lot of dealers were just barely making ends meet. So now that we're in this new bull market and prices are going up, new investors are coming into the space. We're not trying to be one another, right? Where it's more cooperation than competition. So if a big dealer reaches out to us and they're short on supply and we have some extra supply sitting, we'll make a deal and we'll make sure they're taken care of. So I think primarily it's due to we went through a rough patch in this industry, and the dealers that came out on top, we did so by cooperating with each other. So there's a lot of money in the investment industry. Like precious metals are a very, very small component of it. Very few people invest in it. So when this industry does finally ramp and you have people taking money out of stocks, bonds, their IRAs or RSPs, and they're moving into metals, there's going to be enough for every company in this space. So
interesting. Interesting. My viewership and likely again the people watching right now, they buy silver, gold, platinum, palladium on a regular basis, and I think it can be confusing at times. I know, I've been buying metals for almost 20 years. You want to make sure you're getting a good quality product, right? Because there are fakes out there, and you want to make sure you're dealing with a reputable dealer. But then you also want to make sure that you're getting a good value, right? There's always the premiums and there's a lot of different options in terms of who to buy from. And once you determine, I guess, who's reputable, who you can trust, then there's a lot of options in terms of price. I have a guy, a regular on my show, Coin Shop Chris, who works in a coin shop, and he does a lot of research, and he'll find like on 10-ounce bars, sometimes for the same 10-ounce bar, there might be a 60 or 70, really crazy price difference. How would you address that issue as maybe being like a one-stop shop where people could say, well, in my opinion, I think we can definitely trust silvergoldbulls.com, but how would you address that issue, or how would you address that with someone who's out there, just your normal retail investor? Do you feel like you serve that need as being like a place they can trust and that they can get a good value for their money as well?
Yeah, of course. Ourselves, Silver Gold Bull, we, especially in the US, we try to offer low premiums. The reason why there's a difference between, like, let's take a 10-ounce Silvertown Buffalo, right? You may go on our website and we might have that at $275 at the moment. And then you go look at another website and they have it at $285 or $280. Or in terms of purchase costs, that can vary slightly. So the cost that, because we are a larger company, when we go out to buy from a supplier, we're going to buy 50,000 to 100,000 ounces at once, right? Whereas another company, who may not be able to hold as much inventory, they have to buy a little bit less. So, it's like anything. If you buy in big volume, you're going to get a lower premium, right? Just like retail investors when they see the different volume tiers on products. So that's a big reason why premiums are different. And ultimately, it's due to the service as well, right? So smaller companies, they may offer, like, I'm sure they offer a good service, but in terms of variety of services, it may be less. So like in our company, if you compare us to some other smaller dealers, our premiums might be higher, but we have, different dedicated teams. So we have a team that's entirely dedicated to tracking outbound packages, right? The last thing any retail investor, regardless of who they buy from, the last thing they want to happen is their package getting stuck or lost in the mail. So we have a dedicated, like it's a small team, but it's a dedicated team of people that all they do is just watch outbound packages, just to make sure if anything hasn't moved in 2 days. We're reaching out to the courier and we're asking them for an update. And, just doing that entails higher costs. So, we got to bump up our premiums a little bit. And the bigger bullion dealers as well, they have those teams and they're probably bigger than our teams. So, yeah, I hope that answered your question.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's always a question in this business, but it's great to hear that you actually have, even if it's a small group of people, but you have a group of people making sure. I think especially when people are buying online, there's always that fear that it's not going to show up, or that it's going to get stolen, or it's going to be damaged. And sounds like you're on top of that. And this is more of a general question for you, not specifically to silver, gold, bulls, but I hear a lot of people in the stacking community, a lot of people in my audience, and again, maybe somebody watching right now who thinks, oh, the spot price of silver's $23 per ounce, but I have to pay a $4 premium to buy a round. And I think people sometimes aren't aware that the dealer, that doesn't mean that the dealer or the seller is making $4 profit, right? That there's a lot more. Could you address that in general, and kind of the different dynamics that go into what makes the premiums what they are?
Yeah, of course. So I'm sure you know this, but pre-COVID premiums on silver were, honestly dirt cheap, right? You might have only been paying 50 cents over spot per round, and probably less than that on 100-ounce bars. I mean, I know sometimes our, company partner offered us silver at spot just to kind of move,
Right.
So, and then COVID happened, and I know every company is basically saying this reason, but it is true. Like inflation and minting costs, they've skyrocketed. Something that might have cost a mint only 10 cents to mint is probably in that 80 cent to $1.50 range, right? So if spot is 23 and you're seeing rounds sell at, let's say, $28 right now, it's probably a good guess. It doesn't mean at all the bullion dealers make $4. Half of that is just minting costs, and then the other half are shipping costs, right? The mint has to ship it to us, and a big factor that I think very few people know are financing and holding costs, right? When any dealer, and I can say this confidently, when any dealer goes to purchase metals, they're not buying 100,000 ounces of silver outright, right? Just like a car dealership, just like any type of business that holds a lot of inventory, you're financing that, right? And interest rates have gone up, which means financing costs have gone up. So especially as our inventory kind of goes through these ebbs and flows where it can get super busy, and then bullion dealers load up on inventory, and then it gets super quiet, and then they're sitting on that inventory. So there's financing costs that play into it. And I say, out of that $4, a bullion dealer might only make 50 cents to $1,
Yeah. Well, and not to mention, I try to point this out to people as well, that if we're in an environment where, let's just use silver again for an example, where let's say silver drops, which, as we both know, can happen from time to time. If the price of silver drops from $28 per ounce down to $22 per ounce, a lot of the inventory that the dealers have in their stock, they may have bought some of that at $27, $28 per ounce. And when the price drops, right, they still have to be competitive. But and I know from talking to coin shop owners, there's sometimes situations where, they still need to move the product, but they're doing so maybe breaking even, or sometimes even losing money, right?
For sure,
Yeah.
that is, especially with small to medium-sized dealers. When they buy the inventory, they go long on it, right? So they probably don't hedge against that inventory.
Right.
So if it drops from 25 to 22, they lose $3 an ounce right off the bat. And they bought at a high rate, they have to sell at a high rate, right?
Yeah.
One option is they can then buy at the $22 an ounce and try to average out their inventory cost. But sometimes they are selling, at cost or below cost, and making 5-10 cents.
Yeah.
Now, as bigger dealers, where we have to hold a lot more silver in inventory. Like right now, we have well over 1 million ounces of silver just sitting in our inventory. We can't take that risk, right? Because silver drops $2 an ounce just overnight, which we've all seen happen several times.
No, that never happens, Aryan, right?
That's a big loss. So we use the financial markets and we use futures contracts and we hedge against that. Because, if silver and gold, keep in mind, it's not just silver we have, it's gold as well, and platinum and palladium. If that drops overnight, we have to be hedged. So bigger dealers, they're not as exposed to that risk. But adversely, on the upside, right, if you're perfectly hedged or near perfectly hedged and silver goes up $2, you're not making any extra money on that either.
Right.
Because if silver goes down, you make money on your hedge, and if silver goes up or gold goes up, you lose money on your hedge. So us bigger dealers, we're all perfectly hedged. Now we may all do it a little bit differently. I know some dealers hedge with metal. I'm not entirely certain how that works, but I have heard they somehow hedge with metal. But a lot of our big dealers, we use a futures contract to hedge.
Interesting. Thank you for sharing that insight with us. So on another more general question, since you work for a company called silvergoldbull.com, I'd imagine you, I just want to ask your general opinion regarding the metals. Do you follow it closely? I mean, do you have a bullish outlook on, let's say, silver, gold, platinum?
For sure. I do. So I recently, over the last 6 months, started taking up some technical analysis type, courses and learning. I haven't been right so far, so I'm probably not the best. I personally am super bullish. Like, even, I bought my first ounce of gold and my first 10 ounces of the bar when I was 20. So I've been holding for quite a long time. And, I am up. I understand not everyone's up on their investments, but I am up. I am super bullish. I'm still stacking every couple of months with, any spare money I may have.
Right.
And for the, for the future, I am bullish, 100%. I think what's going on in the world, geopolitically between, the Western states and China and Russia, you have the BRICS meeting, or not BRICS, the BRICS meeting, sorry.
The Brinks is the truck that shows up there at your office. Right? Well, I'll give you a pass on that one.
Thank you. You have the BRICS meeting on August 22nd. You have more and more investors kind of interested in this space. I mean, personally, my mom, and I was blown away when I walked into the living room just a couple of months ago. She was there watching a Robert Kiyosaki video on gold and silver, and she knows I work in the industry. But she's never really asked about it. And then, 3 months ago, she's watching this video about gold and silver. And a month later from that date, she made her first investment. So, and I hear this happening everywhere. So I think more and more people, they see what's going on around the world. They're not trusting the, information from the media that's being fed to them. And, they want to feel protected. So, until I see that change, which I haven't for the last couple of years, I'm so incredibly bullish.
You're like the name of the company implies, you're bullish. I want to get your perspective on two things now, and then I won't take any more of your time. But I've noticed on my channel, and I've been at this for about 1.5 years, a distinct, when I look at my analytics on who's watching my video, more and more women are watching my video. Now, I'd like to chalk that up to my boyish good looks and my dynamic personality, but I think it has more to do with silver. Are you noticing that there's more women coming into the stacking community?
100%. That's not only a realization I've had, our company partners point that out every couple of months. We're getting more and more investors who are female, and I don't know why. I really, I haven't been able to figure that out, but 100% we see this on our new customers. We see this on our repeat orders. A lot more women are becoming interested in gold and silver. Personally, for my opinion, they're buying a lot more gold than silver. But not just a male. It's not a male dominated industry.
Yeah, it used to be. I mean, 15 years ago, it was like a boys club. And I think it's great that we have women coming in. That's awesome on many levels. One of which is really it could represent like a huge untapped market, you know, a lot more demand. And I think women are very smart, obviously, and that they maybe even have more of an appreciation for the safety and security that are offered by precious metals. Yeah. Second question for you. I've heard Rick Rule say this, and it's something that I've observed myself, and I know you'll be able to answer this question. Rick Rule has this example of, you know, if you go to the grocery store and tuna fish is on sale for 30% off, you're more apt to buy extra tuna fish, right? Because it's a good deal, especially with silver. And I've observed this with my channel, and I know it's true from talking to people that are at bullion dealers as well. When the price of silver goes down and it's on sale, people typically don't buy it. Now, today we're recording on Thursday, July 13th, and yesterday silver was up $1. Today, last I checked, it was up about 50 cents. We've had a couple of good days in silver. Do you notice that people tend to buy a lot more when the price is going up as opposed to when the price is going down?
So when we see prices going up, order volume craters, like order go down. In fact, so it's very interesting that you asked this, and I was hoping you're going to ask this. So when silver goes down, especially on big down days, we see our best order volume.
Really?
We're moving average, right?
Mm-hmm.
And silver goes down. A lot of people are bulk buying. This is where people who've been in the industry 2, 3, 5, 10 years, they're value buying, right? If they can get silver at $2 an ounce cheaper, they're going to buy. And they're not going to buy 10 ounces of silver. They're going to be buying in half box sizes or monster box sizes, or they might even buy a few monster boxes. Whereas, we over the last couple of days, when silver has, gone up, it was up 3.5% yesterday. I think it's up another percent today. Order volume's going down. And in fact, I don't know if I should be saying this, but wholesale premiums compared to the last couple of days have also gone down. So if we want to go buy from a supplier, they reduce their premiums. So in fact, it's kind of the opposite of, what you just stated. Now, that being said, when we have a few good weeks, or I know we kind of hit the top of $30 silver, and we haven't been able to breach through that yet. I guarantee you the second we breach $30, and Fox News and CNBC, they're talking about silver, that is when the new investors come in. So when silver goes down, it's the current investors who've always been, they're the ones buying. But when silver makes new highs, or it's gaining traction in the news, that's when you see new investors come in. And that's when order volumes go up and sales go up with metal prices.
Interesting. And I think what I heard you say is, let's say silver drops $2 or $3 an ounce. What you do see are larger volume orders. I think you said maybe monster box size. That's the smart money, right? Doing when it really maybe doesn't feel so great to be buying silver, because it looks, obviously the price has been going down, but that is the time to buy it, right? And maybe it's more the small time retail investors who get spooked out and don't want to buy. And but then it's interesting also that you said that when there really is some traction and a big price increase, and then the one time every 9.5 months when silver's mentioned on CNBC, it gets some real traction there as well.
For sure. On the big price slips, that's when you see the dealers loading back up on inventory. That's personally really when we load back up in inventory. You see the retail investors who've always been bullish start buying, right? Because sure, your overall portfolio is taking a bit of a hit, but if you're bullish on anything, right? Like, I'm not only am I bullish on gold and silver, I'm bullish on other assets and securities as well. If I still like the investment, why wouldn't I want it at a cheaper price, right?
Yeah. Wow, Aryan, this has been a great conversation. Is there anything more you want to mention? I do want to mention to my customers, my audience as well. I dug into your website really deeply. Your prices are very competitive, no doubt about it. And again, I'll reiterate, I couldn't find anybody to say anything bad about your company, and I talked to a good number of people. So the website is silvergoldbull.com. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yep, silvergoldbull.com. And if any of your viewers, want to talk to me or kind of get further insights when you call in, don't hesitate to ask for me. I'm also on LinkedIn. I have a very unique name, so it shouldn't be too hard to find me. Feel free to connect and ask me questions. I'm always happy to share my insight. To the point that I'm allowed to.
Yeah. No, I'll and in the description of the video, I'll have Aryan's name and a link to the website as well. I hope I get to talk to you again. I've enjoyed our conversation, and I hope our paths cross again, Aryan.
Definitely. I don't get to do too many of these, but it's been a really good time. I was looking forward to this all week.
Sounds great. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. Thanks so much, Ron. Have a good day.